Hey, good afternoon, everyone. It's about 2:06 p.m., June 8th, 2022. This meeting is called to order. In compliance with public law 24-109, Guam Ancestral Lands Commission published a public meeting announcement for Wednesday, June 8, 2022 in the Guam Daily Post on Wednesday, June 1st, 2022 and Monday, June 6, 2022. Director, roll call.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Chairman Eclaver,
Present.
Vice Chairman Laguardia, I guess it looks like he stepped away from his chair.
Yeah.
I see him on. I'll move down until he returns.
Oh, there he is. There he is.
Oh, there he is. Okay. Vice Chair Laguardia, we're on roll call.
Yeah, presently. Yeah, sorry about
Okay.
that. Not open the door.
Okay. Secretary Treasurer Cruz,
Present.
Commissioner Camacho,
Here.
Commissioner Orlino,
Here.
Commissioner Rios. Mr. Chair, Commissioner Rios sent me a text stating that he might not be able to make the meeting. And if he does, he'll be logging in late due to a conflict with his work schedule.
Okay, noted.
Okay, Commissioner Wessling.
Here.
Hey, Mr. Chair, you'll have 6 commissioners present. You have a quorum.
Just Master Director, thank you. Let's move on to approval of minutes.
Chairman Eclaver.
Yes, Commissioner
Yes,
Wesson.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes.
Okay, motion on the floor to approve the minutes. Do I hear a second? Okay. I believe Vice Chair Laguardia, you had your hands up?
Yes, Chair. Yes, just
Okay, you
must
had
say.
it first. Oh, okay. So We have a second by Vice Chair Laguardia. All in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any nays?
No.
Okay, no nays. Approval of the minutes passes. Okay, we'll move down to hang on. Move the agenda here. Okay, we'll move on to item number 4. Executive Director's Report. Director?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Okay, the following's the Executive Director's Report. On May 25th, 2022, we received the Gita Ancestral Lands Investment Services MOU with all the required signatures. Next, Gita will assist us with the establishment of an investment committee and the development of an investment policy statement. Gita will manage the commission's investment portfolio over the term of the 3-year MOU at a cost of 0.75% of the assets under management to be assessed semi-annually. And with that, I attached attachment A, which is the, excuse me, all the documentation that the MOU went through from us, through Gita, through the AG's office, and to the governor's office. Okay, our FY23 budget hearing for ancestral lands. We're informed at the May 17, 2022 GLC FY 2023 budget pre-hearing with the Office of Finance and Budget Director Steve Guerrero that the Commission's June 2nd, 2022 budget hearing has been rescheduled to July 8, 2022 at 9 a.m. The Commission's FY 2023 budget request is for $498,722. Of this, $408,553 is to be funded by the GLC SID or Survey Infrastructure and Development Fund, and $90,169 is requested to be funded by the General Fund as recommended by Senator San Augustine during a public hearing on Bill number 225-36 COR. That bill is an act to appropriate $90,169.40 from the General Fund, which is Fund 309. These are the Agana fractional lots to the Guam Ancestral Lands Commission, augmenting operational capacity to administer ancestral property rights claims for excess lands returned by the federal government. The increase in funds will be used to hire 2 land agents and to purchase necessary equipment to preserve important public documents. The Office of Finance and Budget Director Steve Guerrero supported the Commission's FY 2023 budget request during the pre-budget hearing, but he recommended that the $498,722 be funded exclusively through the SID account. At a May 26, 2022 meeting, Speaker Talahi supported the Commission's FY 2023 budget request, but supported supplementing the Commission's budget with funds from the General Fund, as was approved by the Commission. Lease negotiations for the RFP 20-001, that's Polaris Point, are ongoing. I believe Gita will report more on that later on. And then the advertisement for potentially releasable and transfer in progress of federal lands. We are now in the final formatting stage of preparation for the ad. And we're going to make sure that it's stated that this transfers in progress and potential transfers fall under 3 different U.S. public laws. Some are under U.S. Public Law 100-202. Some are under U.S. Public Law 103-339, and a great number of them are under U.S. Public Law 106-504. These are the partials that our oversight chair, the speaker, wanted us to create an ad for. So we've done our work on it. We're now just down to the formatting stage, and hopefully we'll get that out to you soon, very soon. It's just a matter of trying to format it and try to figure in the cost for the full page ad, and hopefully not a center spread we're trying to keep our costs down. So it's just up for formatting. So thank you for this opportunity to present this update. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. The MOU as signed is in the back of your packet, or it's attached in the packet. I'm open for any questions.
Just Masi, Director, Vice Chair.
Jesus Masi for that report, Mr. Director. Yeah, with regards to the MOU and Mr. Chair, how soon can we take action on that to formulate the committee so we can get it
I think
moving?
we have that on the agenda coming up. Is that on the agenda on old business? I think we'll take it up there. But that's a good
Is it?
question, Vice Chair,
Yeah. Okay.
and we'll discuss
That's
it
it.
there.
All
Okay.
right. Okay. All right.
Sounds good. Any additional questions for the? Okay, Commissioner Lino?
I hear this Agana fractional lots. To the director, yeah. Can you just brief me? I just want to know what it's all about. Because we got money coming from there, right? For ancestral?
Director, you're on mute.
Sorry about that. Okay, yes,
Okay,
on the
continue.
fractional lots, we were, there was a bill introduced by Senator Tello Taitigui that would appropriate any remaining funds in the fund that was set up to resolve the issue of the fractional lots in Agana. These monies supposedly were there, but according to BBMR, they took the money out and spent it somewhere. It's against the law for them to do that. And senators were trying to find out where BBMR spent the money, and they want BBMR to reimburse the money so that it can be sent to us. But knowing that the funds won't be in by the time we get into the new fiscal year, during that public hearing on the bill, Senator San Augustine advised us to include that in our budget request. And so we did that. And that's how come our budget went up from what we had appropriated for us this year from $408,553 by $90,160. That was the amount he recommended we include in there. And the fractional lots are basically the lots after the World War II, and Agana was, I guess, cleaned up by the military. They went in and put roads where they wanted it. They tried to make it look like somewhere in downtown USA, anywhere. And it wound up that some people's lots were in the middle of the road, and they had a corner in one property, a corner in the other. And that's why they're called fractional. Nobody had a full lot to build a house on. And so this was supposed to clean up that mess. And so there was some funds left over from it. And the senators wanted us to receive those funds, but they don't exist. While it's there on paper, it's not there in reality. Somebody took it out and spent it somewhere, and that was not supposed to happen. So based on Senator San Augustine's recommendations, we included that in our budget request.
Okay, so those are from the cells, like you said, those are lots that are substandard, probably where they cannot build homes or anything.
Yes.
But those lands have owners before that, right?
Yes, that's true.
And they went ahead and sold it to who?
Well, I don't know if they sold it. There were different things, because I know my grandparents owned property down there, and the lots were, I guess some people bought interest in other people's lots till they bought them all out. And eventually somebody got my grandparents' property down there because of that movement. But there was a lot of people affected. I don't know how far it's been resolved. I did not look into that as yet. I'm just aware about the history of it, that that this occurred because of the way Hagåtña was designed after the World War II, when the U.S. military came in and they wanted everything to be squared. They covered up the Hagåtña River. That's how come we have several bridges, and we have one there with the Serena statue where we have no river running, but it used to be a river running parallel to the ocean. where people used to get their water and to wash things. That no longer exists. So where houses were built now are roads. So what happened was some people could have a property that was big enough for a house, but in the middle of it, an easement or road was put through. And
Right.
so they no longer had enough space. So this was supposed to resolve that. I didn't research it to see how far it went. I'm just aware that the remaining funds in that account were supposed to be transferred to us. It's in bill form. It did not become law, but the intent was to transfer it to ancestral lands.
The monies from those fractional lots.
Yes, that was supposed to be transferred, or it was intended to be transferred to us. But BBMR alerted the legislature that the funds were expended. And legislature, of course, was not happy with that because they weren't supposed to spend it on anything else. But it's been known, they've been known to do that in the past. So I guess the most famous one would have been the 911 funds that were transferred during the Calvo administration for other things and then reimbursed under the current administration. So hopefully those funds will be reimbursed, but I won't hold my breath on it at this point.
Okay. Just, it clarified a little. It knowingly, like you said, your grandfather, your parents, they own. We did too, and we never heard about it. My grandfather owns, and when I talked to my brother, because I mentioned this to him, he goes, "What? I didn't know about that." So I said, "I'll check into it." So
Yeah, we could check further into it and find out how far it's gone and what's happened. But our issue with this one was the remaining funds were intended to come to us, and that's what we were concentrating on, not on how far or how much of the lots were or how they were divided or the issue was resolved. I know that we do have the Hagåtña Restoration. It's an agency run by Lasa Casil, and she would probably have all the information on that.
more than likely, yeah. Then maybe we could, yeah. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome, Commissioner.
Any further questions for the director regarding this report on the budget or anything? Okay, no further questions. Okay, we're good to go. We're going to move to item number 5. Need a progress report? Buenas, Gita.
Hello. Good afternoon, commissioners. Good afternoon,
Buenas.
Director Birch. My name is Christina, and I'll be presenting Gita's monthly progress report. This report is dated as of May 27th, so balances will be as of that date.
Okay.
Starting off with Northern Market LLC, their total deferred balance for rent is $1,069,373.70. Their total interest balance is $189,390.31 for a grand total of $1,258,764.01. Their quarterly report was received on May 10, 2022, and we also delivered the original to GALC on May 12th. Their report did not state a schedule for payment of rent and arrears. We can talk more about that if you have any questions later on. For QuickSpace, they are current with their rent. Their last payment was received on May 11th. Moving on to Matson, there is a correction on that. We apologize for this. Their last payment was received on April 25th, 2022. So they made 2 payments in April. One payment was to be applied to March and then one for April. So we also followed up with Jerry, their accountant. They will make payment next Wednesday, June 15th for May and June. So their outstanding balance listed right now is 1 month rent, which is $27,733. Moving on to TransSteel, there is a correction to this one as well. They their last payment was made on May 31st in the amount of $600. So they also made 2 payments in May, which would bring their new balance as of May to $9,200 instead of $9,800. And then AT&T, they are current with their rent. Smithbridge, they are current as well. They made 1 full payment. Their license agreement will expire at the end of this month. And then for Farmers Cooperative Association of Guam, their balance is $3,252.90. And this is for their lease payment for year 2021. We sent them a letter on May 17th requesting for their lease payment, as well as their financial report for calendar year 2021, in order for us to determine the amount due for year 2022. Also, as per Katharina Regis, all documents were submitted to DRT to reinstate their nonprofit status. As of today, she is still awaiting their response. Moving on to Artisan Properties, EPA, their outstanding balance is $216,000. They do make regular payments. Their last payment was received on May 24, 2022. We contacted their administrative services officer, Connie FJE, and she reported that they are pending the release of federal funds to make payment on their outstanding balance. DPHSS WIC, their outstanding balance is $37,499.35. They also make regular payments, and their last payment was received on April 4, 2022. Moving on to other items, the RFP 21-011. As of May 27th, ongoing lease negotiations between GITA, GALC, and Smithbridge. So the draft lease agreement has continued to go back and forth. And on June 2nd, GITA sent them the draft. They sent it back to them. And then for the 3 house lots, GITA is still currently working on recommendations for the highest and best use of property. We're currently doing research to aid in our analysis of the best possible option for GALC. And our goal is to provide a recommendation that minimizes the use of ancestral funds. And that concludes my report. If you have any questions, you can let us know.
Thank you very much, Christine. Any questions? No questions?
No, no question.
Okay, Commissioner
I have
Wessling.
a question. Yeah, are we allowed to discuss at this point ongoing lease negotiations for the RFP 21-011 or not at this point?
Let me check. Mayor, do you want to?
I don't think we're allowed to do so,
No,
Commissioner,
not yet.
not at this point.
Okay. That's why I posed the question as such. I couldn't recall. I know there is a period of confidentiality that
Yes.
that details cannot be discussed, but
We're-
I guess at this point in time, I'm just curious as to, since you said things have been going back and forth, you know, what points are being, I guess, chewed on the most, but I imagine at some point in time, we'll know about that. Okay.
Yes.
thank you.
Yes.
Commissioner Laguardia?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, this is Masi. No, I just want to know, hopefully this can be answered by our director regarding our outstandings. Like those are big numbers. Yeah, that's 1 million plus, 189,000 in interest, and that's 1.5 million in back. You know, that's big numbers. Is there where are we on that with regards to collecting those outstandings, not only Northern Marketing, but all the others? What level of effort are being done to address that matter? Because, man, that's big numbers.
Yes, it is. And the largest one, of course, will be the Northern Market. But if you remember, the commission gave them, I believe it was last November, a deferral full payments up until November of this year. And so until then, because of that, the deferment that was granted by the commission, the numbers will continue to add up for the Northern Market. And then when it comes down to, I guess the other big one would be
EPA.
EPA. Yeah, EPA will be the next one. They shouldn't have any reason for having an outstanding balance since all the funding sources they receive for payment to us are federally funded. And I'm aware that Gita has been making efforts to try to collect this from them. In fact, the report tonight was that they've made requests to their administrative services officer to find out when will they be able to pay off the outstanding balance. They've already gotten approval. These are tenants in that building that we just had the roof repaired. They've already got federal funds and they've got approval to start beginning moving or building their own building up where the old transfer station was up at in Dedido.
Yeah.
And so when that occurs, I hope that we'll be able to collect all the funds that they do owe us. I expect that would have their move from out or as our tenants, they will move out from that building in about a couple of years if everything moves as they planned. So they already have plans to move out and establish and have their own buildings that are fully funded by the federal government. And the same thing goes with Department of Public Health, the WIC program. They too are also federally funded. And because their funds are guaranteed by the federal government, they're supposed to be, it's like GURA going to be paying a landlord rent. It's supposed to be guaranteed. So these are supposed to be one of our best tenants because the funds they get are supposed to be guaranteed coming in. So it's a matter of collecting from them. And again, my understanding is when I've checked with Gita is that they're working on it. And I've signed a few documents for, I believe it was, I forget if it was WIC or Gita, with so many coming in from from Gita for these collections that I know they're on top of it. It's just trying to get these agencies to make payment. So hopefully we'll get those paid. Those are the biggest ones. And then of course we got TransSteel. And TransSteel pays us about $500 a month. At times they pay us $600. It's Mr. Pearson down there he basically has problems trying to make payment on that. And to be honest with you, we've reviewed some of the area where he's at. It's supposed to be on a half acre. It looks like he's expanded out beyond that. But because of negotiations for the rest of the property, we're hoping to get that under control. So I don't know if TransSteel will be able to catch up. That's a private operation and it's based on how well he performs or does business. So that'll be a consideration. I mean, with the top ones, EPA and WIC, those are federal funds. We should be able to collect those monies. With Northern Market, that's a private company. The amount there is extremely high. It's over $1 million, is about 1.5 million around that area. My last understanding, I'm trying to remember a report I got from him. I believe I sent it out to the commissioners where they've invested some funds or monies into the infrastructure of developing that property. So hopefully they move forward and then we'll be able to collect everything from them.
Is there a possibility, Mr. Director, that we can revisit that? Because now we're back to pretty much normalcy, and November is a far way, and perhaps we can look at that and discuss with them because, you know, from 5 months away, that just keeps accumulating. And I think we should just bring up the matter again with them and then have them. Let's start applying some more stringent efforts on that matter.
Okay.
Thank you.
I think because it was an action and a vote by the commissioners, I think if that were to happen, the commissioners would have to vote on it. And I think it's something that we would have to direct Gita to do.
Mhm.
But it's going to be because it was a vote that made that decision. And that's where we pull in our attorney, Nick Tuff, to advise us on what action we have open to us.
Yeah.
I see Commissioner Cruz. And
Commissioner-
Yes, you know, going back to the northern market, I think Gita had requested and how they actually plan to pay us. What are their plans? We're not going to wait again until, you know, the last month. They need to show a data on how they're going to meet their obligation in paying us by November. And that was, you know, that was the request by Gita, as my understanding. A comprehensive plan and how they're going to pay us. Some kind of backup, you know, like the bank is going to fund so much. I have this obligation. I have it in writing. Things that cannot be it cannot be just a verbal money. We need some kind of backup. We're, you know, this is a large amount of money, and we can't. I understand that, you know, that the company has been delayed because of the epidemic, but this has been going on, and so they need to strategize another plan to pay the commission.
Yes, I know we're as far as the coronavirus is considered, we're pretty much trying to get back to normal. Most operations are getting back to normal. They're supposed to be providing that to us on their quarterly report. And I believe the last one I sent out to you, I don't have it right in front of me, but I do remember that they did include in there financial proposals, I guess, not for paying back the commission, but for developing the property. And
Commissioner Orlino, you had your hands up first, and then Commissioner Camacho.
Okay, I believe we've been lax with payment. Let's take EPA. We did a deferment. No, not EPA, on Northern Market, right?
Yes.
Now EPA, that's a big amount. Can we just go in there and set? They're getting ready to move to their new building, and I believe that there's something going on in store. They have money to foot the construction of that new building or whatever. How about us? I believe that we should just set a date and tell them that they have to pay up at this time. Let's not wait until they move out. We already fixed what needed to be done on the building for them so that they could continue progressing with what they're doing. Now it's our turn. They have to turn around. If indeed that they are federally funded, so there's no reason for them not to pay. Those monies come in. It's not like if it's a matching fund from the government, but federally funded, that means that the money will roll in. So Gita or us, the director and the chair, could visit that and advise them that they have to pay up.
Okay, thank
That's
you,
what I
Commissioner.
think.
Yeah,
You're welcome.
we've been working on that, and I am aware that Gita's on top of it. It's just trying to squeeze the cash out of them, and I'm not sure why they have problems doing that or bringing their balance up to date. But it may be the way or the federal funds are released to them. It may be that, but we could ask them to explain to us why they have a balance issue.
Because I believe that with the construction ongoing on the new building, I'm pretty sure that the contractors are getting paid on time as they go on phase by phase of the building before it's completed. I believe that when phase 1 is done, they get paid. Phase 2 on. So I don't see why they cannot turn around and do the same to Guam Ancestral Land Commission.
Right, but most likely the funds are going to get for construction are coming from a different funding source. But we can ask them to explain to us why.
Yeah.
why
That's-
they're having this issue of catching up with what they owe us. But
And
my understanding is balance has been held over for years. This is not a new thing.
no, it's not new, but you know, that time is ripe now that they're moving out. And
Yeah.
I want to
Well-
see them pay up everything before they move out.
Yeah, they have plans to move out, but the plans are just in the very beginning stages. They still have to develop their blueprints. They still have to get the property surveyed and stuff. That's my understanding. So they're at the very, very beginning, but they've got the funds for it, or they got the approval for the funds. And I believe they got approval for transferring the property. I'm not sure how far along that one has been, or how far along that one has come, but we can follow up on it. And we've been trying to do our best to do that.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. I believe Commissioner
Commissioner
Wesley, you had
Camacho?
your- or Camacho.
Actually, Commissioner Camacho had her hands up.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I recall when we approved the deferment for Northern Market, it was with the condition of reports, financial reports. So I think, I don't think we need to vote on it again. I do think that we need to be more clear in our communication with them as far as our expectation. And I think it's reasonable to ask them, how do they intend to clear these arrears? I think it's fair to put a timeline on these things and maybe even a plan to play it. So maybe that needs to be communicated to them in writing, as well as with GITA. I have to believe that every month GITA sends Guam EPA notice of these arrears. But let's get in writing from them what the situation is. If it's contingent on federal funds, well, will it be paid off by the end of this fiscal period? I think it's reasonable to ask and be clear where it stands. We're assuming, right, that it's coming from this fiscal federal funds from this fiscal period. But I myself am not clear. Is this a carryover for years and years? Because as far as I've been on the commission, seems to have Guam EPA seems to be behind in the rent consistently. So let's ask them, how do we reconcile this? How do we clear it up? How do we collect on it? And when? I think that it needs to be clear in our communication with them, that we need to know when
Okay,
these arrears will be paid.
yeah, we can follow up on that. And I know we have with those with federal grants. And the last report that we got from Northern Market, we received on May 12th of this year. And they did put in a payment of rent and arrears section on here. And just to read the final parts of it, their ability to make rent and arrear payments, they say, in light of the issues and the timeline discussed herein, and it's about 3 pages of timelines and issues prior to this section, the Northern Market will work diligently to present a plan to GITA in advance of the expiration of the deferment period in November 2022. After Northern Market has secured its construction loan, and we begin collecting progressive rental payments from subtenants, we will be able to manage this substantial investment and continue the progress on the commercial center of the northern residents of Guam. That was their plan. Their plan is that come the expiration of the deferment in November of this year, and come the where they have tenants moving into their buildings, then they will begin collecting money so that they can start paying us. So I don't expect for us to receive any payment prior to November 2022 based on this report. And so their report is pretty substantial. It's pretty lengthy. You received this back in around May 12th when this was sent out to every commissioner.
Yes, I recall reading the section on how they're not paid back. Commissioner Camacho, do you want to review you know, the contents of their plan and then discuss again further?
Yeah, I think we do need to be specific, because I didn't realize that their plan is simply to address this after November.
Yeah,
thought
I think
we were
they're planning to develop. They're looking at redoing the whole plan based upon the circumstances that they met throughout the years, and then apparently it looks like what they want to do is start making payments from tenants after they get the project up. Then they're going to start making payments.
But that's
on
quite
those
concerning, because we're how many years into this, and we what I'm hearing is should not expect any rent payment. For how much longer? It seems like it'll still be years, because will tenants pay when they don't have a space? I don't think so. I think that they need to construct the buildings so that they can rent the space, so that they can pay their rent. So what's realistic as far as expecting a rent payment on this? I think we need to put a timeline on it. I think we need to put dates on it, and also the amount. So
yeah, it looks like what they want to. It looks like what they want to do is get the business up and running, get tenants, have money flowing in, then make payments on the rears and the regular conditions of the lease. That's what it seems like to me.
But that's what we need.
Yeah.
That's what we need to really discuss, because I'm assuming they're going to borrow money to construct this building. I mean, I'm guessing they have to. If they don't have the money to pay the rent, they don't have the money to construct the building. So, I'm
yeah. So
assuming,
are you saying that maybe they could include that in their right in their financing to at least cover? Yeah, at least to cover their arrears. Yeah.
They need to figure something out, because the other thing too is if we just keep the rental amount should stay the same. But now the amount that they pay cannot be the same. They have to pay over the amount in order to catch up.
Yes,
So,
that's what how I took that report they gave to us. That's how it looks like they're going to do. They're going to like double up on payments or something.
okay, but we need to put dates on it and specifics. So at what point do they project to generate revenue? At what point do they project to pay the rent and the excess? We need to start talking about, because
Yeah.
well,
the director said that the director's informed that they're going to provide something to Gita before the. I know it ends in November, right, director? So apparently they're going to give some detailed financials and their scheme of things and how they're going to do it. Is that's how
Yes, Mr. Chair, that's how I interpret their letter to us, that by November, they will have a report to Gita that will be given to us on how they plan to catch up with the arrears. But the Commissioner Camacho is correct that this has gone on for some time, because I was looking at the building permit, the dates on this go back to 2014. So this has been an ongoing issue for many years. But I do understand her concerns, but I also understand the issues that Northern Market has gone through. But then eventually it is up to the commissioners to make a decision on what action that we're going to take, if any.
Yeah, I'd just like to add to remind the board that we made these decisions based upon basically the advice of our property management. So we besides the fact that Northern Market gave us the stipulations and the factors of what was going on in 2014 when they won the RFP and they approached it. There was other permitting issues that they had with historical and the Navy, and that took like over a year. And then then of course the economic conditions, then the H2 workers. So that's what basically, just to remind the board, that's what went on. And we kept giving them this, these delays. But Commissioner Wessing.
I'm just going to say in a nutshell, I too have the same concerns as Commissioner Camacho has already raised. We gave the deferment based on, as you say, Chairman Eclavea, past history, relationship with Northern Market Group, and the challenges that they were faced with over the years. But my understanding and my recollection of granting them this deferment was to give them 1 year to figure out how to get back on track, okay? And that's what this 1 year deferment was for. To give them time to get back on track, to start to catch up with their rent, figure out how they're going to catch up with their rent, so that come November, everything is paid for that was back owed, and they're back on track. Now, in reading the statement that they prepared and submitted to Gita and to our director, really throws up a lot of red flags for me, because it tells me that their understanding is that they have to, by November, tell us how they're going to catch up and pay all their outstanding. When my understanding and what the board agreed to was, we gave them the year to become current in November, not to give us in November this is how we propose to pay you. No. And so I would really like to have a meeting with them, a face-to-face meeting with them as soon as possible. Because I think these have to be put out in the open as to what the 1 year deferment was for, okay? And in their letter here, which on page 3, under payment of rent and arrears, they speak of Gita giving them options on how to come current on their outstanding amount. One was through, they say, a construction loan, okay, them obtaining a construction loan during the rent deferral period, okay, and it says, or there was a second option, and I don't remember this, okay, truly, at this moment, that if they cannot get the construction loan, there was going to be a 12 equal monthly installment payment plan beginning November 1st, 2022 and ending October 30th, 2023. That's another year. And in the meantime, the rent is still due. Not just the deferred amount, but the accumulating rent. And so that concerns me, because I certainly don't recall agreeing to that at all. Okay. And if they are to get a construction loan from a bank, the bank is going to want to know, are they current on their lease payments? They're going to want an estoppel certificate stating that they are current. And I, for one, am not going to be willing to sign anything like that. Now, if they can get the amount that they owe in rent in their construction loan, fantastic. But as we agreed almost a year ago, that is supposed to be all worked out by November of this year, and not to go into another 1 year of installment payments. And so I'd really, really like to have a face-to-face meeting with them to make sure that they understand that. Thank you.
Okay. Just Masi, Commissioner Wessing, on your thoughts. Any questions regarding?
I'm real sorry about the background noise, folks. Sorry.
Oh, don't worry. Don't worry. That's perfectly understandable. Any comments regarding the comments from Commissioner Wessing? Commissioner Cruz?
I agree with Commissioner Wessling. It looks like they're planning to make some payments by November, but not pay us in full. The full rent was deferred to November of this year. It's not to, start making a payment plan. So we are expecting full balance payment for that month.
Any further questions? Gita, do you have any input?
Commissioner Camacho has her hand up.
Oh, sorry about that. Commissioner Camacho?
So may I request, Mr. Chairman, that Gita address the Northern Market, and maybe they need to be scheduled to meet with us at the next board meeting, so that we can clarify if there's some kind of confusion about the expectations about payment, and really be clear, right? I'm open to a realistic payment plan, but to be kicking it down and not having any concrete resolution, I believe is not prudent of us. I want to see dates. I want to see amounts. I want to, that we can consider, and not just we'll present a plan at a later time. I think that I'm hoping by now they have an idea of when and how they're going to address these arrears, not to mention every month, like Commissioner Wessling mentioned, rent is due every month. This is accumulating and quite concerning in the amounts that is currently due. So just know that construction doesn't happen overnight either. That it's realistic to expect it to take a couple of years, if we're lucky, to build the building so that the tenants can start paying rent. So maybe they're not clear as to what we agreed to. I believe it's maybe about 6 months now, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's time for them to come back and let's be clear about this, about how and when and how much they're going to start paying toward these arrears and the monthly.
Very good. Very good. Commissioner Wessing?
Yeah, in addition to calling a meeting with them, if Guido could schedule this, I would like to find out where they are as far as their loan application process, because that was one of the things they were supposed to be working on in this last year, is their construction loan application. And so I'd like to know basically where they are and what kind of response they're getting from the bank that they're applying with.
Well, I have a suggestion, maybe it's just a suggestion. I'm thinking we already gave them until November. And I concur and I agree with Commissioner Camacho and Commissioner Wessling and Commissioner Cruz that it needs to be addressed, but we already gave them till November. Maybe we should have Gita relate to them the thoughts of the board that we're expecting them to start payment or something, or to make up for the arrears in November, and let them know that this is what our concerns are, that this is what we're thinking.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes?
May I? That extension until November there were conditions to that. And yes, they submitted reports to us, but I don't think that it's satisfactory to us. I think that we'll acknowledge the reports, but I think to see more details. So
yeah, that's exactly what I was saying. for our property managers to get a hold of, let them know the thoughts of the board and the discussions we're having, that this is what we're expecting. But if the board thinks we should have them meet us face to face, I'm open to it too, but I'm just saying we already gave them what they asked for till November. But I'm fine with it if we need to get them before the board and get more detail on how they're gonna. Mr. Cruz?
Well, we're asking them to meet with us this time because the report that they gave GITA was not to our satisfactory in addressing and how they're going to be able to meet their full obligation by November. So I feel that we should meet.
Yeah, we made that a stipulation on the approval of their extension. Director?
I believe that we did.
Okay, and so that's when they included that information you gave about their, right? Their plan to.
Yes, and I believe that's where this report came from because of what the concerns commissioners had at the meeting
Okay.
previous to that.
Okay, so we're gonna let them know we have concerns about that.
Okay,
Apparently, they didn't know we have concerns. They're gonna know now that we have concerns about their payment plan. Correct?
yes, would you like us to have Gita request that they have a representative meet with the board at the next board meeting?
Apparently, there's a consensus with the board that this is, we
Okay.
should.
Okay,
Yes.
so we'll do that. Gita will call on them to inform them that they should meet with us and address these concerns.
Commissioner Arlino?
Same with EPA.
And also VPA.
Yes,
Okay, I'm making
because
my notes
we
on
did
each one of
not.
these.
And public health.
And
We
Commissioner
acknowledge.
Wesley had public health. Christine, you had a comment?
We acknowledge. We'll reach out to Northern Market, EPA, and WIC.
Okay. Commissioner Arlino?
That's to include EPA, right?
Yes, Christine
Yes,
just said that.
Commissioner.
Yes.
So we need to find out because we did not come up with any kind of agreement with EPA, or did we? That I don't know. I
No.
think they should lift up to their payment and
EPA, they do make payments, and it's usually in a large lump sum. So their outstanding balance has continued to, they have continued to reduce their outstanding balance. But we can, what we can do is we could put a payment archive, a report on their payments, and we could send it to Director Birch to share with the commission, if that sounds good to the commissioners. What do you think, Director?
Yes, we could do that. I am aware that when we do get federal funds from from EPA and WIC, that many times they pay several months, and then after that we don't receive payment for a while again.
Correct.
That's been the way they've been paying it. I'm not sure. I believe it's the way they receive their federal monies.
Yes,
And
we've discussed that before in previous board meetings regarding how they make
Yeah.
payments.
Yeah, and so I've signed a few documents certifying that they are tenants, and so that they could receive these funds from wherever they're getting from these federal sources. So I'm aware
Do
that,
you
that's
need-
always ongoing.
do you need to certify that
That
they
they're
are
tenants?
indeed tenants? Every
I believe so.
time payments to be made?
No, not for every instance, but every once in a while that would have to be done. I believe I've done it. I'm not sure if quarterly or every 6 months or so.
Yeah.
And it's
but
just to verify that the funds are being expended for these purposes. That's basically what it is.
So can you do that maybe ahead of time to remind them that this upcoming, we want to receive the payment on this date, or like, yes, they are tenants and the monthly payment is due on every 5th of the month or every 6th of the month, and you have 5 days grace period to, just like any other paying vendor or whatsoever. The others, let's say I'll take Matson, they do, and they lift up. And what makes it different from these others, whether they're federally funded, whether they're paying it out on their pocket, regardless, we do not interfere with that, just pay when the payment is due.
Okay, we can notify them. The Gita already said that they'll be in contact.
I just like to remind the board that we did have issues with it before. We brought it up before. We even had the options of evictions, and then the politics came into play. Just a reminder, that's a different animal altogether.
Mr. Chair,
Okay, I'm sorry, Vice Chair, just 1 second. Kathy, you had your hands up?
go ahead.
If I may, sir, I just wanted to intercede to speak also on what Mr. Burke said. EPA does in fact come and get Mr. Burke to sign off his certifications, but I feel that there's things that they can do so that they can pay us.
I'm sorry, you're kind of muffled.
Yeah.
I feel that there's more that public health can do so that they can get on track to pay us, because since I've gotten here, their arrears is increasing and their payments are really, really slow. Since I've gotten here and I've looked at the book, that's what I've discovered. I discovered that with I even have to help EPA. I have to help with an EPA with their balances, because their balances was incorrect when I got here. So we helped them and we kind of brought them up to date on what their balances are. But I feel that there's more that they can do as a government agency, like our agency. There's more that their government agency can do so that they can provide us the money that they owe us. And I feel the same way Mr. Burke does. I think EPA just needs to set fires on somebody's feet.
Well,
Because
we're all for it. I mean, if there's any method and any ways that we can get those payments.
Yeah, and then Mr.
No.
Burke and I are the ones here. We're the ones responsible for receiving money. We have not received payment from anybody since April.
I think
It
let's
is
do,
now
if
June.
you're saying that we can facilitate the arrears and get those paid, let us know what to do.
Perhaps a letter from Gita and the commission, notifying that they need to pay up a certain period of time. And that letter can be presented to the federal agency that, you need to help us by increasing the funding.
I'm all for it. I think we should revisit it and light the fire, as Kathy says. I'm all for it. Director, let's see what we can do. Let's move forward.
We'll see what we can do.
Yeah, maybe they do have the ways and means to do it. Is just maybe they just like Kathy said, they just need to light the fire underneath the seat to get it done, and they're just putting it in the back burner. So
It's possible.
Okay.
But I just want to remind you, like in the case of EPA, they were in the building long before we took possession of it. And these things have backdated all the way to that time period. So
yes, that's
they've been having a difficulty catching up. So
we'll
try.
And then the issues with their federal funding and
yes.
Yeah.
They come in at certain periods where they have their funds released to them, where their allotments are released. And
okay, let's move with Gita and move with whatever we can do, as opposed to just getting the reports, and every report the arrears just keep popping up. At least we have something to show that we're doing something to collect.
Okay, we'll
Commissioner
work
Lino.
with Gita for them to get the request out to these people.
Okay, Commissioner Lino?
Yeah, pressure point. We need to put the pressure on them. I know it's an ongoing thing. It's been long overdue. We've been lax, but we need to put the pressure on them now and tell them that, we have justified that you guys are tenants, like what they did to director, that they had to write him and indeed justify that they are tenants. So, yeah, put the
Okay.
pressure.
Well, we're on it. Okay, Director and Gita, you heard the
Yes.
board.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, where are we at on the agenda here? Are we,
To old business.
okay, we're moving down to, that's item number 6, old business. A, Gita MOU, investment services update. Okay, here we can discuss further what the director reported. And
Yes. What Gita is going to be working on right now is the I believe a resolution for us to sign, where we would agree with certain things, like our investment policies, where we set up the committees. I don't have a copy of it just yet. My last understanding is Diego Mendiola was working on it. I sent him some documents that he could use to help draft that, and I hope to have that ready, or that he would get it ready from Gita to present to the commissioners at our next board meeting in July. I don't believe that it is ready at this point in time, but then,
Correct.
yeah. So, but basically, what's going to happen is we have to we will establish an investment committee, and then we will have to come up with an investment statement or investment policy statement that would guide us in how we were going to invest our funds. And that would include where the funds will be invested, how much monies will be used, or transferred into these investments. And it'll be a lot safer to do this than leave everything we have at Coast 360, where we have all of our accounts there and they're only insured up to $250,000.
that's right.
Excuse me.
Exactly. Christine, you had a comment. I barely heard you. Did you say, did you comment something? You're on mute.
No, I just wanted to concur with Director Birch that the draft is underway.
That the draft is,
Is underway.
oh, it's underway. Underway. That's the word you said. Okay. Discussions? Okay, who's interested in being part of the investment committee? I think maybe we could discuss that now.
I recommend that we have members from the board of commissioners. Because in this committee, you would decide how much funds are going to be transferred and in what kind of investments we will agree to place them. So this is a very important committee.
Yeah. And it'll still come back to the board for approval.
Yes, but it will go to
Yeah.
a committee.
Yeah, it'll go to
Uh,
committee and then it'll come to the board for a final approval.
Mr.
Commissioner Camacho?
Chairman, how many members of the board does Gita recommend to participate in this committee? How
Just
many
one.
Just one?
Gita has an investment committee ongoing right now, and we would be a part of that.
But you're limiting just one from the board?
I just won.
Well,
I'm not sure. I was just asked if any. We can check to see if we can have.
Yeah,
We can check to see if we can have more than one commissioner. I think that was just the recommendation.
yeah, I don't think it should be limited for, yeah.
No.
Yeah.
We shouldn't be limited.
Okay. We'll note that
But
down.
Okay, just preliminary, who's interested in being a part of the investment committee? Investment committee? Anybody? Okay,
Commissioner
and-
Camacho?
Camacho is interested.
I'll volunteer.
Okay, anybody else?
I
know
believe
everybody's kind of tired.
Secretary Treasurer should be the chair, the vice chair, the director.
Are you volunteering me then?
You are gonna
Commissioner
sign?
Rio?
No, because you're supposed to know the money. You have to know how much is going out. And you are the secretary treasurer. Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Right?
I'll volunteer.
Okay,
Okay,
Commissioner-
thank you.
So I have Commissioner Camacho and Commissioner Cruz so far.
okay, nobody else? Commissioner Wessing? Oh, okay. I'm going to reserve my decision whether or not I'm going to participate. I'm not, as of now, it's right now, I'm not, it's a no, but I like to reserve the right to maybe join it in the future or something.
Yeah,
Yeah, Christina, how often does the investment committee meet? Is it
Quarterly.
quarterly? So you don't meet every week or every month.
Oh,
You meet, yes,
okay.
quarterly.
Yes, correct.
It's that important, but we don't want to make the committee too large. So, but we do need people that are from our Board of Commissioners on there, so the board could decide on how the funds are going to be invested.
definitely.
Understood.
Okay.
How would that work if we have pressing timeline investment opportunities? And then we're stuck with a timeline on the board on that investment committee meeting once a quarter.
This will be resolved when we develop the investment policy statement. We will have guidelines for that.
Okay.
Okay, very good. So no further questions on old business, the Gita MOU? I'd like to thank Gita for their work on getting this out, and finally the governor signed it, the AG signed it, we're good to go. So just Masik. Okay, if there's no further questions, we're going to move down to item number 7, new business. A net negative report, U.S. Public Law 106-504. Director?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, right after Commissioner Leguana requested that I come up with a report on this, I sent a report out a couple of days later that I hope you all received, and it was also included again in your packet today. Basically, what I wrote was a summary of what led to where we are at today. If you just put up with me and I'll read the report to you, it's quite short. It's only 3 pages. Okay, so in 1950, this goes back to the very beginning, actually goes way back to 1930, but I decided to limit my report to 1950 because that's when the Organic Act established Guam as an organized, unincorporated territory of the United States. And people of Guam were granted U.S. citizenship, who were previously recognized as U.S. nationals. The Organic Act retained plenary power to amend or enact legislation for Guam to the United States Congress and provided Department of the Interior with direct control over the affairs of the local government. This allowed the United States to retain thousands of acres of land it had confiscated and specifically excluded claims for these properties on the War Claims Act of 1948. The War Claims Act of 1948 provided compensation for civilian American citizens captured on Guam or any other territory or possession of the United States attacked or invaded by Japan. It did not, however, provide compensation for the residents of Guam who were United States nationals, but not American citizens prior to 1950. Congress amended the War Claims Act in 1962 to extend compensation to the United States nationals for property loss, but specifically excluded claims for property located on the island of Guam. In 1959, an agreement between the United States and the government of Guam allowed for the transfer of perpetual easements and or fee simple titles to the rights of way in the joint use of the highway systems on Guam. And then in 1976, Attorney John A. Bond filed suit on behalf of Guam to recover land he accused the United States Navy had taken from the original landowners with minimal compensation. This resulted with the United States federal government agreeing to a $39.5 million settlement for land claimants, a payment to be made at the value of the land at the time it was condemned. While many landowners accepted payment, several did not. Some wanted their property returned and rejected the land settlement. Some viewed the payment as a lease and not a purchase. And some were off island and were unaware that they were eligible to file a claim. In 1977, the United States Navy completed the Guam Land Use Plan, which is in September of 1977, which is the GLUP 77. This plan established the land holdings required to support the U.S. Department of Defense presence on Guam and determined which federal land holdings could be released to the government of Guam. In 1996, the unclaimed balance of more than $4 million of the land claims money was deposited into the United States Treasury with future payments to be made only by petitioning the court. And in 1994, the U.S. Navy and Air Force completed another master plan for future military requirements in Guam. This is called the Guam Land Use Plan, GLUP 94, which updated the land use plan of 1977. Now in 94, the Guam Excess Land Act, U.S. Public Law 103-339, specifically identified parcels deemed excess by the United States federal government to be returned to the government of Guam with restrictive covenants that required the properties be used for public benefit. The act also required the government of Guam to prepare a land use plan for the properties as a condition for their release. In 96, the Guam legislature created a land use plan that defined the return of land to original landowners as an economic benefit that met the requirements of public benefit use with the passage of Public Law 22-145. In 99, the Guam legislature created the Guam Ancestral Lands Commission and tasked it to distribute the excess lands to the original landowners or to their heirs, except in circumstances when the land is clearly under existing public use or are non-ancestral lands. In the year 2000, U.S. Public Law 106-504 established new rules for the transfer of properties deemed excess by the United States federal government for return to the government of Guam. Of concern is subsection B, conditions of transfers, which state any transfer of excess real property to the government of Guam may be only for public purpose and shall be without further consideration. And 2D, the property is used only for a public purpose and cannot be conveyed to any other use. And lastly, subsection C5, where the term public purpose means those public benefit purposes for which the United States may dispose of property pursuant to Section 203 of the Property Act as implemented by the Federal Property Management Regulations 41 CFR 101-47, or the specific public benefit uses set forth in Section 3C of the Guam Excess Lands Act, except that such definition shall not include the transfer of land to an individual or entity for private use other than on a non-discriminatory basis. And then in 2019, in a legal brief to GITA by attorney Terrence Brooks, he advised Public Law 106-504 more fully defines economic development. It does so by stating that such definition shall not include the transfer of land to an individual or entity for private use other than on a non-discriminatory basis. This means that if the property is given to individuals or entities, it must be done in a way that is fair and equitable to all people. And this is at odds with Guam law that requires excess lands returned by the federal government to be given only to original landowners. In essence, the term economic development has different meaning under each law. And while it has been the general consensus since the passage of Public Law 22-145 in 1996 that the United States federal government will not retake lands returned to original landowners, it now seems that U.S. Public Law 106-504 makes the federal government's position stronger should it decide to enforce the restrictive covenants contained in its deeds to the government of Guam. And should the government of Guam transfer property to Guam Ancestral Lands Commission, it could be viewed as a violation of U.S. Public Law 106-504. The language used in U.S. Public Law 106-504 appears to have nullified the intent of Public Law 22-145. It should be noted that several parcels of the Department of Navy net negative inventory in the area of Eagles Field fall under the transfer authority of U.S. Public Law 106-504. And I included that inventory as an attachment, which shows all of the, as was required, all of the properties that are currently under potential transfer and transfer in progress, with the transfer authorities that allows for these transfers. And the transfer authorities, of course, are U.S. Public Law 106-504, U.S. Public Law 103-339, and U.S. Public Law 100-202. The list of properties are numerous. If you have any specific questions, I'm open to them right now. Or if you have any questions on my report.
Thank you, Director. Vice Chair Lawatna?
Yeah, thank you for that, Mr. Director. Yeah, I just wanted to question one particular plot of land property over in Tangisan. I believe there, I'm not sure if that land was somehow acquired or attained, because I believe portions of that is going to be built on a huge condominium and hotel facility and park. Am I correct on that?
Okay, I'm not sure about the hotel facility, but at Tangisan, there are a couple of properties that are going to be returned, and that's the Tangisan Power Plant. It'll be returned on 100-202. That pretty much is what the federal government has been using whenever they return utilities, water, power, or easements. There's very few, if any, reversionary clauses in that public law. The next one is Tangisan Beach Park, which is about 13.3 acres. And that's a transfer in progress. It's under 103-339. Now, the interesting thing, we've done our research on that one particular property, and the original landowner sold that property. We have the deeds and everything that where they sold it to the U.S. federal government. So the ostensible owner for that will be the United States government. And if that's being returned to Gov Guam, it's a beach park. I would like to get that under us. There will be no local ancestral landowners for that piece of property. But because it is a park, I'm assuming that they might consider giving it to Department of Parks and Recreation. But of course, I put in word that we would like it returned to us. We could do something good with beach property. And that comes under 103-339. So not all of these properties are coming under 106. It's just that the area that was contended, received a lot of publicity was, of course, the area in Eagles Field. Now that is called Lot A7A and B Anderson Barragata Annex. It's 102.2 acres. That one is a potential transfer, and that comes under Public Law 106-504. And that's the contention a lot of people have had, being that the governor does plan to build a hospital, and whether the governor builds, she is going to build the hospital, but the issue is, where is it going to be built? Is it going to be built in the area of Eagles Field or in the other 16 other lots that she's considering? And one of those lots, of course, belongs to ancestral lands. So if she does move it, remember, I'd like you to remember that a while back in the paper, you saw an ad there or an article where the Navy was going to bump us out of that area for building the hospital there, and they wanted to put up a missile defense system there. So I'm willing to bet that if the governor moves the hospital away from that area, it may become an area where they might erect that missile defense system. So That decision will be left to the governor. When she makes her decision, I have no idea. She did say she's make the decision. She will make the decision soon. But I know that was the area of contention. But then in Tanguisan, that property, I'm wondering if that's the one you're thinking about. That's up there by the power plant, that area. That has no original landowners. It was sold by the original landowner to the US federal government. So we've been doing our work on this to follow up and where these things are. We're planning to put an ad out on all of this as requested by our speaker and our oversight chair. And we're in the process of just formatting it. We've done our research on each one of these properties.
One more? And Mr. Chair, one more, just one last one. What about the USO? Is the potential for the USO? Are those, who are those to be, has that decision been made yet to return that to original landowners or for public purpose? And who are the original landowners for that property, the USO property?
Okay, I don't have it on my desk, but I know that Joey has the list. It's a long list of original landowners for
Okay.
5.5 acres. And the list, I think, is like 20 or so original owners since 1950. Since then, of course, the heirs, the original landowners, I don't think any of them are alive, but they do have a lot of heirs, and they must number in the thousands for 5 acres.
Is that under 103?
It's under 106, 504. So my understanding is this issue was placed before the municipal council of PD, since it's in their general location, because they do have Santos Park right next to it. And I believe the municipal council is leaning towards using that to extend Santos Park or to include it as part of their parks. But if that does occur, then these people, they would fall under the land bank. So I don't know. I doubt very much they will get their property back. One, because the transfer authority is 106, 504, and the other one, it's only 5 acres and 5.5 acres. And because of that, the decision was to put the question to the municipal council of the village where it's located. And what decision has been made on that, I'm not aware of as of this time. But you can pretty much guess on how this would turn out. I think it will be kept as a park by the village. Either that, or because it was used for military back then, it may go to veterans for all I know. But I do know that it is in the process of transfer right now. So it will be returned to GovGuam very soon if it hasn't been done so yet. I'm not at that level, or we're not at that level where we're in that committee or commission that decides that. But we will be told as soon as they make their decision. So yes, the landowners in that most likely will fall under the land bank. I doubt very much that we get their property back. Would you like to know the list of owners? Joey could recite that to you. He probably has it on his desk.
Yes, we'd like to listen.
Okay, Joey, do you have that list?
I just like to add that in my opinion, we should follow local law.
We
Return
could.
the lands to the original landowners under the economic interpretations of the law, and then take it from there. Follow the local law and give it to the original landowners. It's my take on it.
Yeah, but that decision won't be. We're not involved in the.
Yeah,
in that
but that's
committee.
That's just,
we're not involved in there, and that's what I'm saying is if we were involved, I do let them know that I would like all these properties returned over to the ancestral lands.
It's going to put a cloud, somewhat of a
process.
cloud on the title, on getting title insurance for sure. But we're telling the landowners that, there's an injustice that's been done, and we've already made a local law to rectify it. We follow the local law and rectify it. Yeah, I mean, there's that reversionary clause. I like to see them come in and recondemn those lands.
Yeah.
And they're having a big buildup here. Restless natives. This is just my opinion. I'm sorry, Commissioner Camacho.
So I believe it's the federal law. We've had this discussion before. It's the federal law that will determine, right? And so if we're wanting that to change, isn't this something that we need to address with our representative in Congress?
Well, that's why I'm saying we have a local law that's established already. It's up to our leaders to follow that local law. There's an issue with injustices that's been done throughout the years. You know,
Put up a fight.
we've been addressing that issues. We're still on unincorporated territory.
Yeah, I think
You know,
it's
and many senators feel the same way, that, you know, this is an injustice that's been done. We're rectifying the situation. We passed a local law, and we don't have to do it. I'm just giving you my opinion on what we should do. I'm not saying we're going to do it. This is my opinion.
and my opinion is that we should address it with the congressman or our Congress, if that's the direction that we want to. I take.
I have a comment.
Yes, and actually, it's making a statement to the federal government that we have these injustices. The war claims we have the injustices with the land taking, and it's basically just reasserting that we're determined to rectify these injustices.
I have a comment. You know, when properties are condemned by either local or federal, there's supposed to be a plan to condemn it, but with the federal, not even a scribble of a plan when they took these properties, you know, from the local, when they condemned it, there was no plan. So that will be the argument with our leaders, you know. Up to now, these lands are being returned. Now, I mean, it's still empty. They never should have gotten it. They never should have condemned it.
Yeah, it's very controversial. I understand it's very controversial, but this is the controversy of these takings. It's an injustice. We're an unincorporated territory. That's our political status. I think it's not really going to war with the federal government. It's basically showing our determination that we want to correct these injustices, and that's why we're here in the commission. And we should stick with the policy of returning excess federal lands back to the original landowners.
Follow the Guam law.
Yeah, but Commissioner Camacho, you're correct. There's ways to go about doing it with the federal government, but this is one way of establishing that, you know, we're determined to do this. So interpreting the language of the law regarding discrimination and economic benefit, we did that with the first one with 1033-9. We did that with it. They turned in that land use, that public benefit ban, and Congress accepted it. That's just my opinion. It's going to be a controversy. It's going to be an ongoing controversy. But I think our leaders should take have the guts to enforce the law that they passed, the local law.
It doesn't hurt to pursue that.
Okay. Any further questions for regarding?
Well, I think the Commissioner, Vice Chair Laguardia wanted to hear the names of the owners of
Say.
USO Beach Park. Joey? You're on mute, Joey.
Oh, it's gonna. There you go.
It's a lot.
So I'm just sharing the screen right here. How if you can see it, these are the lot numbers and the ostensible owners at the time of taking for the USO Beach Park. And again, this is something we're going to publish, so. But this is what we have right now.
Yeah, you know, once we get that, Mr. Chair, once you publish that article, I think we should publish that ASAP, because the way I see it, it's already at a local level, and we are not in that level, which I suggested since the very beginning. We need to get into that level, because before that, I think we're already with the administration where they are planning to use it for public benefit based on the conditions. And now, the sooner we get this thing out, the people need to be notified, because then it'll bring out public outcry, sentiment, and you know, and that's when we can address this. Because to me, once the military already puts it on the net negative listing, it's already potentially going out to the government already, and for public purpose, and they're developing their plan as I perceive it right now. So we need to get this listing out. That's my strategic way in addressing this matter, because look at those names, man. Look at that.
Could I make a comment, please?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so again, I'm not sure if you were caught what Mr. Brett was saying, but if we return these lands back to these people,
I can't really hear you.
they're not. If we return these lands back to these families, are they going to have a marketable title? Are they going to be able to mortgage the property, build a house on it, and get a loan? Are we giving them false hope? We don't want to do that. I don't want to do that.
Well, I just mentioned the fact that they're going to probably have issues with the title and a title guarantor getting insurance with their property. But that's what they told us. That's what I was told by some major figureheads here on the island. That
those were returned under 103.339. This is a 106.
This was 103.39 that I got those.
No, the USO is being returned under 106.
Yes, but 103.39 is where I'm saying that the major figurehead said we will not be able to get title insurance on it because of the stipulations of 103.39. I won't name the names, but they were saying we won't, and they were totally against giving it back to the original landowners.
No, I disagree, because the 103.39, we followed the local and the federal law.
These figureheads were telling me even that we were not following the law. I'll let you know who it was after. I'm not going to say it here, but they were saying, "Good luck on getting title insurance."
There's security titles, there's Tatico, there's title guarantee. There's not that many title companies out here.
Yes, but they were saying good luck in getting title, insurance for those 103.39 properties at the time that the government of Guam was going to release it. But go ahead, Joey.
No. So that's my point.
Okay. Everybody's entitled to their. I know, Joey. I got your point. Everybody's entitled to their opinion, but if that's how it's going to be handled, the way the situation of the reality that they're not even going to get their title. But this is a list of 21 families.
No, not title. They're not going to be able to get title insurance.
Marketing title insurance or marketing.
Okay. Yeah, but besides the point, but this is a group of people that can always become creative, come together and negotiate with the government and get some sort of compensation rather than to outright take it from them. That's my point.
Mr. Brett was saying is they would fall under the land bank trust, and that's where they would be compensated. They would get compensated under the land bank trust. We don't give them title to the land. We'll compensate them monetarily. So we're not leaving them in the dark. They'll get under the land bank trust, or they can qualify under the small land trust. But
Joey, you're right. You're right. I mean, you're hitting some good points in it. But if my property was in the land bank trust and it's and it's my property and it's not being released to me, I already know what my dad's going to say, Uncle Henry. I don't care what the law says. Give it back to me. I'll deal with the title insurance. I'll deal with this. Just give me back my land.
That's right.
That's what they're going to say. Give it back to me. I'll handle it. Even though the facts are true. You're going to hear but you're right. I mean, we're not going to be giving them false hope if we tell them they can get title insurance. We're going to tell them, hey, this is what the federal law says. This is what the local law says.
They're
you're not going to have a hard time marketing your property or getting title insurance or even mortgaging it or selling it. but at least they know what the playing fields, what's the scenario.
Correct. Okay, so I guess here we are now. So how soon are we going to get this thing published, Mr. Director? Let's get this down ASAP, all of them.
Yeah, that's the plan right now. We're in the formatting stage, and so we got all the information now. Just felt that you needed to know how far we've gone on this. And now that we've identified funding sources, we do have the funding source to pay for the ad. The ads are not cheap for a full page ad, but the names are so numerous that I'm worried that we might have to use what we call a center spread, because there's a lot of names and there's quite a few properties, because we're putting.
Director, real quick, I'm
Yes.
sorry. Yeah, I just have a little bit of a concern regarding, making an issue out of this before the land is returned. I see that maybe, I'm looking at it now that maybe we should wait till the land is returned.
Well,
And then
the
it's already
speaker-
returned, and then maybe make the issues known as opposed to making us.
At one of the last, during the oversight
No.
hearing, that we made a promise to the speaker, our oversight chair, that we would get this ad out.
Right.
Yeah, I
And
just
I'm
don't want
trying
it
to
to
fulfill
jeopardize
that
the return of,
promise.
I just thinking that it might jeopardize the return of the property or delay it or something, That's
I
my
don't think
concern
so.
about it. Yeah.
Yeah, we're just trying to keep our promise that we made to our oversight chair, who is also the speaker.
Well, okay, I'm just noting my concern about making a stink out of it and then delaying the,
Yeah, but
probably
we did
not.
make a-
Probably it's not going to delay. Once the process is going, it's going to come back. So yeah,
Let them
but
make
we
the
as-
noise now.
yeah. Okay. I'm sorry, Director.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
But it was a promise that we made, that we were working on it.
Yeah.
And you can see we have worked on it, and we're at the point where we're now just formatting it. We're about there already. And you needed to be aware of this. But I don't want any of you to be surprised that all of a sudden you see an ad out in paper that this thing is taking place. I informed the speaker of it that we're this close to it already. And she
Right.
was happy with that because this was at her request. So, and we did make a promise.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to stick to all the promises that we made, whether it be made privately or openly. This was one made openly in one of the oversight hearings. We've had a
Public
couple of those.
information. Yes.
Yes, and it's just advertising public information that's out there.
Right.
Just like we did with 106-504, it was very hard to tell people what that US law says. It was very hard to tell them that these are the conditions that surrounds that, but people need to know. We should not mislead them. We have to let them know what we're faced with. These are issues we're faced with, and we do need help to resolve these issues. Like, are there any loopholes? Like what our vice chair is saying, let's get the property returned to them. Can we find a loophole? Can we chance returning it? Then you hear the opposite opinions, like what Joey said, is that should we give them false hope? We're trying not to mislead people, trying to do the best we can to walk a fine line of remaining within the law and trying to solve or resolve issues that people have had since basically since 1947, when he started leasing these properties, then condemning it in 1950. So we did make a promise to the speaker that we were going to do this and get this thing out. And that's why we've been working on it. And so we have all the names and we have all the information. It took a little time to get there. And now we've identified the funding for the ads. And once we're done with the formatting, then our plan was to put the ad out unless there is any opposition from the board.
No.
I assume that this was the direction that we were going because of what we stated in the past. So
True.
are we to proceed or?
Yeah, let's proceed. The injustices have already been done. Let's move forward and let it open up to the public and let the injustice be at the hands of the stakeholders. Let's it's been done. Let's do whatever we can. Let's publish it. That's how I feel. It's already.
Yes, and whenever
let
we
them
get
deal with the matter.
whenever we
Yeah.
get a chance, we make sure that those people that above us that in this committee that makes the decision where these properties go, that they're aware that we want the properties returned to us, and then the government could take it back from us. But we will make our original landowners be aware of this so they could be compensated. But what I see going on with 106-504 is they will still be members of the land bank, and that's where they would have wind up eventually if the property is kept, just like when properties were returned under 103-339. If they were kept, like, for example, for the airport, which our vice chair is very much aware of this, that group of people will be in the land bank. We have to resolve the issue of the amendment to the land bank and get that part resolved. That's on us to get that fixed.
And
This other parts,
and
we're
the
just
lea-
simply following the law.
Yeah, and the leaders of, they definitely have a situation now because there's a law that states that we're to give excess federal lands back to the original landowners. I mean, either they're just gonna
that's-
ignore that law, or you know what I mean, or make the federal
Pretend they
law
don't
trump over that. Yeah,
Pretend they don't know.
and just pretend
Well-
they don't know or something like that. Yeah, but a couple, well, a couple other points I want to make is that maybe there was a separate legislation that dealt with those properties that allowed GovGuam to put those in a separate trust for those landowners. That's a different matter. Okay, I'm just thinking out loud. Another thing too is the fact that our rules and regs yet has not been finalized.
Yeah.
That's a different
Where
matter. Now that too affects it very greatly because it makes
Yes.
me think differently that, okay, if it compensates just this one class of people, then those people that are in these lands, the negative lands that are coming back, would be more, satisfied that they're going to get compensation in a timely manner, if you know what I mean. So there's a lot of factors at play with it right now. But all good points. All good points.
Yeah, very sensitive issue. I agree.
Okay, so Director, print it out.
Brent, okay, well, we'll finish the formatting. We're
Yes.
working on it. We're about there right now.
Thank you, Joey. Just
Thanks, Joey.
Okay, so no more questions regarding that?
No, but
Okay, Commissioner Lino?
since you mentioned about the rules and reg, how far has it gone? Is it on second floor already or still on first floor?
Okay. First, we decided, of course, this was advice from our legal counsel and others, that we have to amend our enabling act. And so we've drafted parts, a proposed amendment. It's now at Adelup, having their attorneys and review it before it comes back to us. And hopefully it comes back. It was sent down around February. Hopefully we'll get that back soon so that we could give it to the commissioners for the commissioners to vote on, and then send that to the legislature. And once that's done, according to legal counsel, then we can work on the rules or continue our work on the rules and regulations. But there are certain issues that must be resolved in law, by law, before we can go any further. And so we're simply following procedures to make sure that we get everything covered. Like people say, you cross every T and dot every I. We're attempting to do that. We don't want to go through what we went back in 2017, where the attorneys general rejected the rules and regs that were worked on by the commission. So we're trying to make sure we cover all of that, all the concerns written up by the attorney general's office at that time. And part of it is amending the current law itself. So we're at that point.
So that
And we're
was
very
in
close to,
February?
we're very close to finishing that part.
Mr. Burt, so
Commissioner
that was
Cruz?
sent since February?
It's
Maybe
been
we
down there
should
since
follow.
February. Yeah, it works.
Since
I mean,
February.
it takes time, yes. I wish I could rush it, but it does take time for it to go through the different offices.
Okay.
Just like our MOU, we put it out a long time ago. We decided this, and finally we got this final complete signatures. It did take time for that. I wish I could push it faster. We keep following up on it. But that's basically where we're at today.
Okay. If no further questions, we're going to move down to item B of new
Okay.
business.
Yes, that again is just basically clearing house on this thing. You're aware that we have the a fund account that we don't actually have any money going into it. It's the Landowners Recovery Fund, account 0101. And this has happened before in the past where it was determined by the bank because we had no activity, no money's going in or no money being taken out. So it becomes classified after 1 year without activity as a dormant account. And then they start charging us for these inactive account, a monthly dormant fee of $5 a month. And if we don't do something about that, that's going to deplete that. I did go through the records in the past and the commission did allow us to transfer $5 from the from our SID account into the Landowners Recovery Fund. So it won't be depleted until we figure a way out of how to fund this account or to refund it. So basically what in a nutshell, without going through the entire resolution number 2022-0008, what it does is it allows us, without coming up for resolution, every year to transfer $5 annually to avoid the inactive or dormant fee. And that way we could do that administratively without bringing it to the commissioner. It's just a housekeeping type issue. And hopefully we could resurrect the Landowners Recovery Fund because funds were placed in there years ago based on my research from Gita. And we used up those funds for operations. We did not have a SID account for operations during these days. And so it was used up for various issues. And the way I look at it, they were all legitimate expenditures. But it was supposed to, I think the intent was it was supposed to have been some kind of revolving fund where we loan money out to the original landowners for them to go out and do surveys and open easements to the properties that are returned. But it was never used for that purpose. It was used for operations. So now we operate totally different from the way we have operated in the past. But this is to keep that fund alive and so that we do not lose $5 a month. So what this basically asks for is to allow us to transfer $5 from the Survey Infrastructure and Development Fund, which is account 102, to the Landowners Recovery Fund 101, a total of $5 every year annually. So this will be a continuing resolution until we decide what to do with the Landowners Recovery Fund. So that one I'm asking you to take action on, basically to stop and the inactive and dormant fee that's being charged to us. It was charged to us again last month, so we lost $5. Yeah,
What's the balance on that?
okay, I can pull that up. Just it is. I wrote it into it's $5,036.51.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So do we need to take action, Director?
Yes, to approve the resolution, and it's basically going to transfer $5. That's from the SID account to the Landowners Recovery Fund. And that transfer will occur annually. Yes,
Okay.
Commissioner Lino?
Commissioner Lino?
Okay, so we need a motion for that.
Yes,
Okay, so I'd like to make a motion to transfer $5 annually into the Landowners Recovery Fund from the SID account.
Would that be an automatic transfer, Director, or would that have to
Yes.
be done manually?
Every year.
automatically. We'll do it manually every year. The staff will handle it because the resolution makes it automatic.
Okay, so we have a
It
motion
grants
on
us
the
that
floor. Okay, motion on the floor by Commissioner Lino to transfer annually $5. What was the name of the account again?
The Landowners Recovery
The
account.
Landowners Recovery Account. Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, second by Vice Chair Laguarnia. All in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? Any nays? No nays?
Nice.
Okay. I didn't know if Commissioner Cruz, did you vote?
The transfer, A.
Okay,
Okay, yeah.
so yours is, okay. So there's no nays. Motion passes, Director.
Thank you, commissioners.
You're welcome.
Okay, now we move down to item number 7, public comments.
Yes, Mr. Chair, we did have a request from Attorney Philip Torres. He'd like to address the commission. Basically, what he informed me, he has a client who wants to lease 1.2 million square meters. That's about 296 acres for a client to build a solar farm. And his client expects to invest at least $30 million in infrastructure on the property. So I guess there's a representative here for Attorney Philip Torres.
That's me. I'm
Oh,
Phil
nice.
Torres.
Very nice, welcome.
Regarding the discussion that you've had today regarding the amount of money that Gita has and is collecting, there are 2 pieces of property that the Ancestral Lands Commission has. One is in the old FAA housing. It is lot 10190-1, 1.5 million square meters. And there is property off Route 3 over by Marble Cave, which is in excess of 1 million square meters. My client is trying to secure property through a lease or
I'm
sale.
sorry, is it Mr. Phillips? What's in Mr. Torres? Or
Ms.
Mr.
Torres.
Yeah, you're kind of very muffled. We cannot really hear you very clear. It's very muffled.
Okay, let me try this again. I'm sorry, is that better?
Let me
On
see.
behalf of
There, that's better, I think.
Okay. So I have a client who's looking to secure land for the purpose of building a solar farm. We have searched across the island and cannot find suitable land that is fairly flat and large enough to sustain a solar farm that will create 60 megawatts of power. GPA will be issuing an RFP on that regard in September. We have located 2 spots, one which is lot 10190-1, which is the old FAA housing area from the 70s, and it's off Route 3. There's another one off Route 15 that is fairly flat, in excess of 1 million square meters, which is near Marble Cave where the existing solar farm is. I would expect that if the commission was to approve an RFP for a lease and it went out for public bid, that a lease like that would generate at least $1 million a year in revenue. My client expects that to build a solar farm, they would have to put infrastructure into the area through roads and power and water. That would probably be about $30 million. And that would be over the life of the lease, which is 30 years. So what we are doing, I'm just bringing this out as part of the discussion today regarding lands and income. And I know that if you approve it, it goes to Gita. Gita is in charge of the RFP and the evaluation thereafter. I would ask the commission to consider it at a future meeting. And I can follow this up with the lot numbers and further information for consideration in the future.
I got a question. Is that dealing with a power purchase agreement with GPA?
That would be for the RFP to come out. It's a brand new RFP. It might be.
Oh, I see. So it's basically contingent on that RFP.
That RFP, yes.
Yeah, GPA RFP.
Correct.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So I think it addresses 3 things. One is it benefits the island through renewable energy. 2, it generates a great deal of income over 30 years. And it comes back to the government of Guam at the end of that time with a great deal of infrastructure improvements. And obviously, to prevail, we would have to be a qualified bidder, the highest and best bidder.
Yeah, and you presented a letter, of course, a letter of interest to our director.
I had a conversation with him, just a general conversation, but I will do so.
Okay. Well, Sejus Masi for for appearing for the board.
Thank you.
Can the board ask questions? Board members want to ask him any questions?
I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, Vice Chair Maguania?
No, all I suggest is that you just submit everything in writing,
Yeah.
in detail, and give us a timeline and who are the individuals involved, and all the all the information required that would be presented to us in a formal and addressed manner. Thank you.
I can do that, and I will do that. I will also tell you that the individuals involved are the ones who have built the solar farm out in Marble Cave. So they may not, I think they're equipped to build another solar farm, but there's no guarantees that they would get the award from GPA.
Okay. Any other questions? Sejus Masi, Mr. Torres, we'll be expecting your letter from the director or to the director.
I will get that done this week. Thank you for allowing me to address the commission.
Okay. Thank you, Sejus Masi. Any other public comments, Director?
No, Mr. Chairman, there are no more requests for public comments.
Okay. Let's move on to our next meeting. July 13th,
Yes.
2022.
Second,
Commissioner Arlino?
Yeah, I just want to ask the director, how far has the request for the tablets or what? Do you hear anything as to just I need it?
Kathy has an update on that.
Okay.
Kathy, yeah.
Yes, sir. We're waiting for delivery to be delivered by the end of the week or early next week.
Okay. Thanks,
So it's-
Kathy.
It's coming.
You're
It'll
welcome.
be here.
Okay.
Okay.
Just checking.
Any final thoughts?
Yeah, I do, Mr. Chair.
Okay. There. You're moving
all right,
around.
yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead. I would
Luana?
just like to, make a request for a possible meeting with our director, the chairman, our legal, and myself. I specifically request this with regards to the matter of the Tijan properties. I have a proposal. I mentioned this back sometime, and in the meantime, something has to be done with those original landowners who have not gotten any compensation from their properties that are currently being used right now. So I just wanted to bring just a small discussion for maybe about 15, 20-minute meeting sometime this week, Mr. Director, Mr. Chair, and legal. And then we will present that plan to the commission if it's a worthy and applicable plan for the Tijan landowners, particularly the airport properties. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Vice Chair and others, I just wanted to remind you that I'll be off island. I'm leaving Friday.
Okay.
Yes, and that's because my grandson's graduating on the 12th of June
Hey,
from Stanford.
Congratulations.
So,
Congratulations.
right on.
so
Wow.
I have one of
Stanford.
yep.
When you come
Stanford
back.
grad.
Yeah, when you come
it'll
back.
It'll be on, be arriving back on July 2nd, because I also plan to visit my wife's brother and his wife who are elderly and living alone in Virginia. And they've have medical issues. He's coping with cancer and his wife has been in and out of the hospital over the last month 3 times. So we plan to check on them because of that. I mean, we all have family out there that are elderly, and in this case, if they live stateside, you know, they don't have family around. So we hope they would agree to move back here. But
Wow.
so we plan to stop and check in on them. So I'll be gone for 3 weeks. So if you really want to meet, we could meet tomorrow if necessary. It's kind of a short thing, but
Yeah.
And
Sure.
meet on that
Just real
issue.
quick, it won't take long, and it's just something that has been in the back of my back for the longest time, you know, and something needs to be done. That's all I want to share for now. But you all have an
Yeah.
idea. But I would just
yes.
like to just, you know, see if it's a feasible
Feasible.
proposal, you know, in the meantime, you know. Okay.
Okay.
Sure.
we
Tomorrow,
can- we
anytime,
can-
just text me.
Okay, so
We can go. We can go. Zoom again. If you can do a meeting real quick in the morning,
Oh,
maybe
yeah.
about 9
We-
o'clock. Is that
Nick-
okay? 9 o'clock.
Nick, are you up to it at
Oh, wait,
9?
wait,
We
wait, wait.
have-
Hang on. Let me check my calendar. Hang on. Yeah, because I might have something on the 9th. No, maybe about. Let's try 10 o'clock.
Okay, I don't have a problem with 10. Nick, how's your schedule?
I can do 10, just
Okay.
nothing in the afternoon because I'll have
Okay.
a board meeting for about another
Okay,
5
good.
hours.
Just for 15 minutes. And Mr. Chair, at 10
I'm
a.m.
good. I'm good. I'm good.
Okay, good.
Zoom
Okay,
meeting,
thank
Director,
you.
Just set up the Zoom. Just
Okay.
set up the Zoom. We're good to go.
We'll set up the Zoom right away and I'll send you out the link to you right.
Thank
Okay.
you.
So 10
Appreciate your
o'clock
attention on the
tomorrow
matter.
morning.
And I
Great.
hope I will get the support from all the other members and the upcoming proposals that I have. All right. Thank you.
Okay, okay.
Okay,
We'll
we
set it up.
are, any other final thoughts? Okay, none. So just maasi everybody for today's productive meeting. Let's see, it's 4:12. Motion to adjourn? Okay, motion. Okay, Commissioner
Okay.
Weston, motion to
Yeah,
adjourn. Okay,
I motion to adjourn, and I did put on the chat that I will be off island July 13th for the next meeting and will not be in attendance.
okay, sounds. okay,
I motion
noted.
to adjourn this meeting.
Okay, 4:12 p.m. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Adios.
Be safe.
Adios.
Adios.
Bye, everyone.